Welcome back, fellow game developers. Today, we are picking up right where we left off in Lesson 1. Now, in Chapter 2 of our Roblox video journey, we are delving deeper into the creative side of game development. We've mastered the basics, and now it's time to elevate our game with giving our parts some stunning visuals. In Lesson 1, we learned how to create and manipulate parts. But what's even more exciting is making those parts look exactly the way we envision. So, let's get started. To give a quick refresher on parts can be big or small, and they can have different textures and colors. You can use parts to create props, cityscapes, and even vehicles. In this lesson, you will learn how to manipulate the look of a part and create, add, and modify decals and textures. Firstly, head over to the All Templates and choose Baseplate. If you came from Lesson 1, you could use your pre-existing baseplate that you already have with you. From the Home tab, click Part on the ribbon bar to add a part at the center of your view. Now that we've got our part, it's time to make it stand out. We can do that by tweaking the part's properties using the Properties window. In order to do that, we first need to select the part in your workspace. Then, we'll scroll down to the Appearance tab in the Properties window. At first glance, the Properties window might look confusing. But don't worry, the essentials that you need to know about it are color, material, reflectance, and transparency. Let's start with the color section. Color is used to change the color of the part surface. Click the checkbox next to Color in the Appearance tab to open the color picker, where you can then select any shade of color you want for your part. Next, moving on to the Material section. You can use materials to add more details to your parts to provide a more realistic appearance. As in the real world, changing a part's material will also affect the density and behavior of the part. For example, marble is more dense as grass. So, choosing a part's material to be marble will make it heavier than if it were to be grass. The default material is plastic, but you can change the material by clicking the Material drop-down button and selecting a different option. With these materials, you can then create anything from a dense forest to an urban concrete jungle. So, in order to change the materials of our parts, we can choose from various materials in the drop-down menu. And finally, we have the Reflectance and Transparency section. Reflectance adds glossiness to a part's surface. When reflectance is set to 1, the surface is completely glossy. When it is set to 0, it is completely dark. Transparency makes the part completely see-through when it's set to 1 and completely visible when set to 0. This is helpful when you're building glass surfaces and other transparent objects. Materials are great and allow for many creative options, but they are not the only method to add details to your parts. Decals are a different version of textures and have different uses. They stretch to fill the entire surface of a part. Textures, on the other hand, have few properties that allow for repetitive textures to be used side by side, amongst other things. Decals are best used when you want to use the texture to stretch across the entire surface, such as a billboard advertisement on the side of the road. You can create and upload a decal image to personalize your game's objects. So, to create your own decals, follow these steps. First, hover over the part in the Explorer and click the plus button. Select Decal from the menu, click the empty field next to Texture and Properties, and pick your image from the drop-down menu. This is how you make your own decal. The decal has other properties as well, such as phase, color tree, and transparency. Phase is the side or face of the part that is displaying the decal. Color tree allows you to change the image's color. However, the color tree value only adds color to the image, rather than overriding it. Transparency allows you to make the image transparent, just as how you made the other parts transparent earlier. The major difference between textures and decals is how the image is sized and positioned on the part's face. Textures can repeat over and over, so they are good for things like bricks or roads, or when you need to be able to adjust a texture. If you want to create and upload your own textures, the steps are the same as the decal, except now you select texture from the context menu. Textures also have the same properties as decals, such as texture, color tree, and transparency, and they operate in the same way too. However, textures have some additional properties including U and V, such as offset starts U. U is the 2D equivalent of the X, horizontal axis, and V is the 2D equivalent of the Y, vertical axis. The reason why they are called U and V is because X, Y, and Z is already taken up by the 3D axis. Offset starts U and offset starts V are basically the number of starts the image should be offset into the U and V directions. The max range we can set is between 0 and 1. If we set starts per tile U and starts per tile V to 6, which means the texture stretches over 6 starts per image. Now that we've come to the end of today's tutorial, there are 3 exercises you should do to try what was taught in the video. Your first exercise will be try to create a yellow cobblestone part, just like this one shown in the video. For your second exercise, it's time to use all the knowledge you have gained through this lesson and create your own movie theatre, complete with movie posters. Let your imagination run wild. And lastly, for your third exercise, try to create a highway with a billboard on the side, just like the image shown in the video. Challenge yourself to make it as detailed as possible. Before we wrap up, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting Roblox video lessons. Stay tuned for Chapter 3, where we'll dive into creating interactions with constraints. Until then, happy game developing!